Great asset in a tier 1 jurisdiction, Ghana, lots of 5 million ounce deposits along trend. We've significantly de-risked the project. We've got a couple of economic studies that we've put out on the project, which outline very robust economics. The met work is looking very encouraging. It's a project that we think we can get permitted in a relatively short time frame.
Hello and welcome to the Assay TV, where today I'm joined once again by Luke Alexander, the CEO, President and Director of Newcore Gold. Newcore currently focused on advancing their flagship Enchi gold project located in Ghana, Africa. The land package consists of 40 kilometers of Ghana's prolific Bibiani Shear Zone, a gold belt which is host to several 5 million ounce gold deposits. So welcome, Luke. Great to have a catch up with you again. It's been a little while. So can you tell us about some of Newcore Gold's project achievements over the last several years, just as a bit of a recap for our audience?
Yeah, hi Katie, nice to see you again. So Newcore Gold, we're advancing the Enchi project in Ghana. It is an advanced stage exploration project. We have significantly de-risked the project over the last few years with an extensive 90,000+ meter drill program, as well as we put out a PEA on the project, which outlined very robust economics. We've also done a lot of met work on the project, which obviously de-risks it and moves it closer towards a production type scenario. So gold exploration project in Ghana that's been significantly de-risked over the last number of years.
Excellent. So regarding some additional results you also released surrounding the NIAM deposit within the Enchi Gold project, can you expand a little bit more on some of the highlights of those results?
Yeah, so we've kind of historically focused on a couple of exploration initiatives. One is we've got a very large near surface oxide resource on our project spread across a number of different deposits. Most of those remain open along strike in it, and we continue to grow the overall size of the oxide resource. But then the other second big focus for us is the higher grade that we see within the sulphides. So the results that we've recently put out at NIAM, they have focused on some of that deeper drilling. And what it's done is it's proved out further the potential for high grade at depth on our project. If you look at our resource that we put out earlier this year, we did outline 3 underground resource areas. That was the first ever underground resource that we've put out on the project. And these results that we put out now at NIAM further highlight the expansion potential of the underground sulphides at our project. So we're extremely pleased with the results that we've put out in terms of some of the grades. We intercepted 3.28 grams over 11 meters. But within that, we've got a high grade area as well of about 6.57 over 4 meters. One of the important things with these results that we've put out is they're still only down to about 350, 400 meters below surface. So lots of opportunity for us to continue to chase this high grade to depth, as well as along strike. So lots of opportunity to continue to step out. So very pleased with the results that we've put out.
Excellent. And just to circle back a bit to the de-risking of the development of the project, can you give us some of the key takeaways of some metallurgical testing that you actually did this week, I believe?
Yeah, so we've done a significant amount of met work on the project over the last few years. A lot of what we've published to date has been column tests within the oxides, which have had 90+% recoveries, so very good recoveries within the oxides. But again, along this theme of higher grade at depth, we also want to start to get a better understanding of what the met looks like within the sulphides. So we've been over the last number of months doing a lot of met test work on the sulphides. And in conjunction with these drill results that we've put out at NIAM, we've also put out some met work within the sulphides, and those are over 91, pushing 92% recovery. So where that's important is obviously, a number of groups who will look at Newcore are interested in the long-term potential of the project as we get into those sulphides. So high grade combined with high recoveries within the met is exactly what groups are looking for.
And in terms of the broader picture, what makes Enchi's project location so attractive for investors?
Yeah, so we're based in Ghana. Ghana is Africa's largest gold producer. It's the 6th largest gold producer globally. To put it in perspective, Newmont currently has 14% of their global production coming from Ghana. So it's a tier 1 jurisdiction. And where that really benefits us is there's a huge amount of skilled labor in country. There's a lot of service companies who are operating within Ghana. It's a very safe country to operate in with a very strong political system in place. So all of those things really make it a tier 1 jurisdiction for us to be operating in. And then specifically our project, we're in the southwest corner of Ghana. We've got a lot of 5 million ounce plus deposits along trend from us on the Sefwi Bibiani belt. So 50 kilometers to the north, you've got the Chirano deposit, which is over 5.5 million ounces, Bibiani over 6, and then one of Newmont's 2 producing mines in country, the Ahafo mine, where they're pouring another $1 billion into that, sits at over 20 million ounces. So we've still just scratched the surface. And again, back to the drill results we just put out, highlighting where that high grade potential will really help us grow those ounces over time.
And obviously all of these things cost money, and you actually managed to raise 5 million in quite a challenging market recently. Can you tell us more about that financing?
Yeah, so I think anyone who follows the junior sector and the exploration sector recognizes that it's been a very challenging market for the last 12 to 24 months. But we've got very strong institutional support. We're currently at about 45% institutional ownership. They've seen what we've been doing over the last few years and recognize the potential of the project, and are ultimately willing to continue to fund that going forward. So we went out for $5 million. We had an oversubscribed deal within a couple of hours. That brought in a couple of new institutional investors, as well as strong support from our existing holders, as well as management and board. We all participated in the financing, followed along, continue to invest in the company because we see the huge upside potential that there is, especially at these levels. And when there's blood in the water for exploration companies or the junior sector, that's ultimately when you want to be investing. Coming from an investment banking background and having been on that side of the industry for 20 odd years, recognize that this is the time to be making investments. So again, I participated along with management and board.
Again, as we know, the markets have been quite volatile recently. How would you say the gold outlook is for the years to come?
Yeah, the market has been extremely challenging, and I think one of the reasons we've seen such a challenging market is because there's been an inflation across the board. I think for gold companies, we've potentially seen peak inflation, or at least in the near term peak inflation. So with a gold market that stabilizes or moves up, we're ultimately going to start to see margin expansion. So I think that's a real positive indicator for the overall sector. Gold has outperformed a number of other asset classes out there. So it has ultimately done its job from that perspective. And, I think there's a very strong outlook for the gold price as we start to see US dollar potentially peaking relative to a number of other currencies out there, as we start to see interest rates start to, come off in the next 6 to 12 months. Those are some of the things that will ultimately drive the gold price higher, not to mention a lot of the geopolitical instability that we're seeing around the world today. Again, gold has acted as a safe haven for a number of years, and it's done that over the last few years. And, the outlook is very positive from that perspective on a go-forward basis.
Excellent. You've already just touched on some of your expertise, but what makes Newcore Gold unique, like relative to its peers?
Great asset in a tier 1 jurisdiction, Ghana. Lots of 5 million ounce deposits along trend. We've significantly de-risked the project. We've got a couple of economic studies that we've put out on the project, which outline very robust economics. The met work is looking very encouraging. It's a project that we think we can get permitted in a relatively short time frame. And then from a market perspective, very strong institutional support. As I mentioned, 45% institutional ownership, groups who focus on the mining sector, focus on the precious metal sector, who recognize the huge upside potential and are keen to continue to fund the company, as well as management and board who have a proven track record of making shareholders money and creating value with exploration companies. And then on the investment banking side, very good, strong support from that perspective as well. Currently, 3 investment banks covering us from a research perspective. So those would be the key things that I would highlight that differentiate Newcore from a number of others out there.
Well, thank you so much for catching up with us today, Luke, and we look forward to catching up again with more news flow.
That's great. Thank you, Katie. Have a nice day.